Okay, so we are going to talk about some Pythagorean theorem today. This should be easy for you. I'm assuming you did Pythagorean theorem when you were in like elementary school. It's always something that people remember, but if not, we'll review it. So Pythagorean theorem only works with right triangles, which are triangles with one right angle. When you have a right triangle, the two shorter sides, we call them legs. This side that's across from the right angle, so we can see that if I drew a line from the box to the side, that's the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is either the side opposite, but it's also always the longest side. So the biggest side is the hypotenuse or the side opposite the right angle, whichever one you kind of remember, definitions, so on. In a right triangle, if I add together the squares of the legs, it's going to equal the square of the hypotenuse. What does that mean? Well, it's this very famous formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is the length of the first leg, and b is the length of the second leg. Sometimes, there's always questions of like, does it matter which one is which? No, it doesn't. The legs are very interchangeable. So like they have A here and B here. If I flip them, it's still the same. The side that matters most is C. C is the length of the hypotenuse. Okay. So we're going to use these steps to solve for our right triangle pictured here. Okay. When I look at this, I want to find where the corner is. The corner is on this C, which means this side is the hypotenuse. I'm not going to spell out hypotenuse every single time, FYI. So this is my C. Then I have A and B. Again, you could flip A and B. That's not a big deal, but that would be how you set it up. So now I want to start to plug in my Pythagorean theorem. A squared. 8 squared plus b squared, which is 15, equal to c squared. Well, now we're going to want to do some quick calculations. The squared, you can use a calculator, like you could Google calculator 8 squared. You can just do 8 times 8. So if you do the number times itself is the same thing. If you like turn your phone sideways, there's a more extended calculator. So that's another way you could get this squared. But you could do 8 times 8, which is 64, plus 15 times 15, which is 225, equal to c squared. If you are having issues and you don't know how to do a squared on your phone, let me know. Again, if you turn your phone sideways to get like that bigger calculator, that should work. 8 times 8, 15 times 15, something like that should work. Now we're going to add these two numbers together, and we get 289 equal to c squared. So the last part is we need to get rid of this squared here. We don't like having it. We want c alone. The opposite of a squared is this symbol called a square root. Again, it should be on your phone calculator. You should see it. I don't even have to turn my phone sideways. And it just is just straight up my phone. It's right after a log button under a cosine button for my phone. I can press that button and put in 289. Okay. Again, you could Google like calculator, square root calculator or something. There are ones available just on Google. So C equals 17. And that's my final answer. Again, if you're having issues with the calculator part, let me know. And then there's this, if a triangle is right, then the square of its legs are equal to the hypotenuse. Oh, sorry. If a triangle is a right triangle, then the square of its hypotenuse, first here, side equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides. If the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum, So this is the converse. Basically, we can find the missing side of a right triangle, or we can prove something is right, which is what we're going to do in this problem. We want to determine if this is right. So I look at my sides. This is my right angle. This is a side across, so this is my hypotenuse. This is C. And then I have A and B. And I just want to see, does this make a right triangle? So I plug it all in. 12 squared plus 16 squared. Does that equal 20 squared? 12 squared will give me 144 plus 16 times 16 give me 256, and 20 squared will give me 400. Plus 140. If I add these two together, I get 400, which tells me I do have a right triangle here. So ABC is a right triangle. Okay? These are some Pythagorean triples right here. These ones always work out to right triangles. You can look over them. Basically, you can multiply them by anything. So they did the 3, 4, 5 multiplied by 2, 6, 8, 10. It's still going to work. Mostly, I just would rather use the right triangle and memorize a bunch of numbers, but you can look over them. All right, well, we'll talk about this more. If you have any questions, let me know.